And it may be difficult to dress very similar. They could talk very similar. And those undercover false teachers could do incredible damage. The spiritual leaders in the churches had grown complacent and careless. It may have been a scenario where they were just excited about more and more numbers and more people joining, and they weren't stopping to check to see if these people were even saved. You know, every person that joins our church, they have a conversation with me and perhaps some others of our church to see if they've been saved and to see if they've been baptized the Bible way. Why? Because that's what you see in the book of Acts. He said, why do you make such a big deal about that, Pastor? Don't you want to fill the pews? I'd love to have the pews filled with godly people, and I'd love to have the pews filled with lost people, but I would never want to say, if you're lost, you can just stay lost and become a member of our church, and that's totally fine. Everything will work out well. That's a lie. I don't want that to happen. There's a reason that God has the gate, so to speak, of the church, salvation and baptism. That's the way we're supposed to keep it. Well, Jude had to blow the trumpet, let people know, wake them up. The Lord had and the apostles had been warning that false teachers would arise, and yet the churches did not heed the warning because you said they're already in your church. So they're creepy, deceitful. What else do we know about them? Well, we see that they're ungodly. So they were before of old ordained to this condemnation. We'll see that. We'll cover that in a second. Ungodly men. Why would ungodly people be accepted into the church, and where in the world would they get the position of teaching in a church? Well, it's because, like Peter talked about, you'll see Peter is very closely connected, and Timothy actually talked about as well. They had a form of godliness, but they lacked the power of godliness. A lot of people can talk the talk, but the real question is, do these people have a walk with the Lord? And somebody say, well, I don't know. I mean, they get up there and they know they're Greek. Wow, they get up there and they're really, man, they have a really great outline. Spend some time with these people. Talk to these people. Do they know God? Do they love God? Do they have a good relationship with the Lord? Do they have a time of personal devotion? Do they have a good relationship with their family? And you also can run through other checklists that we see. The first one we've already seen, are they honest or are they deceitful? Have you ever been around people that seems like everything they're saying is a lie? And you almost, I remember there was a guy at Northern Plains Baptist Church. It's like every time he opened his mouth, you're like, I don't know. I remember Pastor Hannah said he would call up the guy's boss to check in on him to see if what he was saying was actually true, because the guy would say these crazy stories. And Hannah's like, I don't even know if I can believe that. And I don't want to repeat that unless I know it's true. And it's crazy how some people can become that way. And listen, if there's somebody who's boasting and they're talking about themselves and they're deceitful about things and they're evasive about things, listen, a person who is a godly person shouldn't really have anything to hide. And we're not talking about you ought to be able to dig through and see all